Minister of Penang, as well as Honorable YB Hablin for inviting me here. I'm only given 20 minutes, not because it's your fault, but because all of us wanted to be very thankful to our wonderful sponsors and all the MOUs that have been signed. So what I'm going to do is the slides are all going to be made available for everyone who is attending. It's necessary. And I have 3 points to make, and they are essentially as follows. None of us can be a monopoly. None of us can be a monopoly in talent, in knowledge, and in capabilities. So public-private people partnerships are essential. And the role of the government is very critical. So I'm not here to preach. I'm learning as I go along. And many of the companies that I've been advising, we look towards different agencies for help. So I'm going to just very quickly talk a little bit about the International Enterprise Singapore. And I think many things that you do in PHI exactly does what the International Enterprise does. I have 3 companies, but I may not have time to go through all 3. But all 3 companies are transforming. And I use the word transforming cautiously, because many countries have transformation roadmaps. But, it's not enough to just give a roadmap to an industry and say, transform. I think we need transition pathways. So climate change is real. Our young people, our employees all want to work for sustainable companies. But you cannot change immediately. So I'm happy to tell you that we are doing transition pathways now. There will be a need to go from brown to light brown to slightly less brown and then getting a little bit green and hopefully more green. So it's a pathway that all of us need to build together. And then I believe strongly that R&D is very important. And, the ability to work with your universities, your polytechnics, your vocational institutes are critical. Because the young people do have a way of looking at the world of work, the world of life differently. And we need to bring young people on board. So, let me just very quickly. No, I'm not preaching. I'm not trying to sell IE Singapore. And I'm just trying to say that under our Ministry of Trade and Industry, there are 4 very critical pieces. Everyone knows the EDB because they are the ones who bring the big MNCs into the country. And then we have Enterprise Singapore, which actually is a merger of 2 entities. Spring Singapore, which looks at building capabilities of small, medium enterprises. And then International Enterprise Singapore, the old name, is to help the SMEs grow the external wings and globalize. But Singapore is such a small country that no point just building capabilities if you don't have internationalization right at the start. So we merged the 2 entities. And guess what? It happened during 2018. All right, just before the COVID crisis. And 2018, we already felt the need to change. Why do we need to merge? All right, Spring as well as International Enterprise then, because we had headwinds meeting us. I think it's very, human for most of us to resist change. We like to do everything as per normal, unless we hit headwinds, and we all have to put up our sails, and we have to make sure that we are there to juggle the boat so that it doesn't capsize. Many of the entrepreneurs I meet, they tell me, Prof, great to have theory, great to have all this framework, but when you are running the ship, you have to be accountable because there are so many other people on the ship with you. So steady, all right? And of course, resilience. So we have seen many of you in this audience are CEOs, entrepreneurs. You have seen volatility, and the world is facing volatility fast and furious. Cycles are getting shorter now. So we can only do better if we all come together. So even governments are starting to realize that they have to merge entities. And there might be some human pains involved. There might be one CEO that has to step off, because when you merge two entities, you don't need two CEOs. So, change is in the air. So Enterprise Singapore was created largely because technology was hitting us fast and furious. YB mentioned just now that you have many traditional companies. You are in the semicon industry, very good. But the non-semicon is as critical. 75% of Singapore's GDP is driven by services. Many people think that, then you just concentrate on doing services well. Cannot. We need to still have a manufacturing sector. We need to have diversification. So Enterprise Singapore, when it was formed, that was the aim, to build a Singapore core of enterprises. It's not enough just to have the big MNCs in. We need to build local enterprises. Why? Because when the cost of wages are lower elsewhere, the MNCs can easily move. But local enterprise can only stay. Yeah? So we need to build strong local enterprises that can carry our name and bring the flag out there and say they are from Penang, they are from Selangor, states, and they are from Malaysia, because all your states can come together and power the ship and the flag of Malaysia forward. So we have that mission. Small little Singapore need to come together to grow stronger Singapore enterprises. And I must say that on hindsight, 2018 with that merger, the conversations have become that direction. MNCs will only come to your country if they also have strong local suppliers in the ecosystem. Otherwise, all your tax holidays, grants, not very important now. Today, it's about human and talent. It's about having local enterprises that are wholesome. That's a word I learned from Amna coming on the bus today. Halal is about being wholesome. Halal is about doing things right. And so, if you have big champions of wholesome, strong, sustainable companies in your ecosystem, MNCs will come. They will come and build together with you. So I am very proud to share 3 examples. I may not have time to do all 3, but like I said earlier, being an emeritus professor means that I continue to wear my professor hat with SMU. I have an email account that is perpetually there, but I no longer have a job in SMU, but I'm flying the flag. So emeritus means I retired. And I retired from SMU, but doesn't retire from life. Because there's still so many things we could do when we retire. So I always tell people retired should be spelled retiring. Yeah, we go back to school, we go and speak to people, we learn from conferences so that we can retire and help co-create value. So I know you like that statement. Yeah. Thank you. So the journey of 3 companies, all right, and I'm quickly showing them. PBA Group, I'm on their board. They are not public listed, they are privately owned, but they have me on the board because their investors require the G. So ESG, all right, other than growth that YB mentioned, E for environmental, S for social, G for governance. When you have outside investors willing to invest in you, they want somebody independent. All right, nothing against the family, nothing against the whole value system that built a family business, but they like to have someone who is independent, representing investors as well as the business. So the G is a very critical part. And I was invited to be in PBA Group. You can go to the website, you can Google them. And the history of their transformation is benchmarked on the word platform for bots, robots, short form, and automation. What is in a name? Oh, a lot of things are in a name. This is the mobile robots that you see. PBA actually was part of the whole COVID crisis. Their product called Sunburst is a disinfectant robot that will go and clean the malls, the hospitals, all right, contactless, and they use the UV light because that helps to clean the air. So COVID gave them an opportunity to be relevant, to be impactful. And that's what, enterprise is all about. Enterprise is being relevant and make an impact and bring value to the community, and not just about the bottom line. It's about triple bottom line. So, I was part of their transformation journey. Because when you first start, you only start as a trading company. Why trading? Because no need to have fixed asset. No money to buy fixed asset. So trading simply means you buy and sell. So he started PBA, but the name wasn't today's name. It's called Precision, all right? Precision, PBA, Precision Parts or something and Accessories, okay? So he was a trader. All he knows is ball bearing, But then they start to realize many of their customers require them to go up the value chain. And that's when you own IP. That's when you build something that, ball bearing can buy and sell from other people. But when your clients become closer to you because you built something that they need from a manufacturing part, that increases your relevance. But I want to point you to the year 2018, all right? Because the second generation, Derek Yap, and you can Google him, came onto the business. He was a business school graduate from NUS. He had no engineering background, but he learned on the job by pure osmosis. I noticed your Halal has the word learning at the end. So we all can learn and relearn and, keep on learning. So he says, fine, it's my responsibility and accountability. My father is asking me to step up, I will. So in 2018, he came and set up RACE. RACE Academy stands for Robotic and Automation Center of Excellence. Because we could not find robotic workers. So what do? We invest in the whole industry. And I think that's the giving nature of enterprises. If you don't give, you cannot receive. So he says, let's train the sector. Let's take people who are from engineering background, but they need to reskill, upskill, so that they become more. Venture capital did not want money from private equity. They wanted only strategic investors. Partners who can bring them a bigger market. So cannot mention some of the partners, but two big ones were Fraser's Property. And why was Fraser's interested in robotics? Because Fraser's got huge buildings. And, Minister mentioned that construction slowed down, all right? Because of COVID, we couldn't find workers. But Singapore has a lot of tall buildings. Thailand, where Fraser's is from, has a lot of tall buildings. When buildings are built so high, did you ever ask the question, who's helping to clean the windows? It's unsafe. It's not sustainable if you ask people to hang from outside the window to clean the windows, right? So what could be a safe way to clean windows of tall buildings? Robots. Yes? So robotic arms which are having sensors, IoT, managed indoors, that you could use automation, and then you can track. Tracking and tracing is so critical these days. Which window has been done, which hasn't. So strategic partners bring you the market and a new business sector for you to continuing to pivot your business. So we are now very delighted to let you know that they have moved from, general robotics to precision robotics, which involves scalability, very customized, so the clients will stay with you because it's customized, And they are now, of course, in warehouse, in logistics, which is where you guys are. But history never left us. PBA's first market when they internationalized was Malaysia. Yeah? And so we are all one family. And so they came and they didn't do anything, they just make it better and they learn from the culture. So the PBA example shows, all right, trust is needed. So my first T, I was sharing with YB, transformation needs 3 T's. I will talk about 3 T's. First T is trust. So we are all using the word trust very well. Halal is about trust. Yes? Yeah, it's about I can trust that you are doing the right thing. All right? And it's not just about a certification and a stamp. And it's about the whole journey, the whole mindset, the whole process, the whole back end, the whole system. So, the whole idea that we are here today is we build trust because this ecosystem believes in that. I'm going to skip what YCH because I think one of the speakers will come from there, right? And YCH will talk about their own journey, okay, and their own value propositions in one of the systems. But the second T is other than PBA, all of us are facing challenges in getting our people, especially young people, to want to come back and work in traditional companies. Do you agree? Yeah? They find it very sexy to work in fintech, They find it very nice to work in media. You see all the media people here? Very young. Okay? So those are the challenges. So increasingly, many of the companies have to bring tech in to lighten the load of the existing employees. But at the same time, once you bring tech in, the young people are interested. So YCH, traditional, homegrown logistics company, they also launched Y3. All right? And the Y3 is simply doing this. The logic is being 3PL, 4PL, 6, 7PL doesn't, work if you don't have a systems and a tech framework. So with the technology drivers behind them, I learned along the way, and I'm on the board of Scala, which is the Supply Chain and Logistics Academy. See, every company always go back to talent because there's never enough. So other than investing in upgrading your own people, why don't you upgrade for the industry? So you may compete for deals outside, but you're all agreed on the second or third T, the talent word. Talent brings all of us on a common platform, and we want to do better to groom our next generation of logistics professionals. So with the talent, they are then able to convert a lot of their modules, right? And all of you have this. Every logistics company I know. But it's modular, so you can plug and play. So you can be an end-to-end integrated supply chain player because the client wants to work with you both on consultancy as well as the whole suite. Or a client may choose certain sector and say, I only need you to be for the warehousing, all right? I don't need the full chain right now because I need to have cold chain, and therefore I need you for the warehousing piece. So it's very, very much modular, and I love the way it's going. But YCH, all right, says at the end of the day, we are in the business of logistics planner accelerator. We will work with government agencies, we will work with network, we will work with Scala's ecosystem to try and upskill and place them. It's almost like a headhunter already. But no fee charge, more to make the sector stronger. So the title is Resilience and Sustainability to Grow Stronger Together. I cannot be the one to say I am the champion, I want market share. You will not be able to sustain because out of all the big clients in this room, there are 35 other suppliers. If your suppliers
I heard, Chief Minister, you have to leave. Sorry, Chief Minister. Yeah, but not my fault. Huh? Earlier was all the sponsors, and we need to thank them. Thank you. So let me move very quickly to my last company. All right? Young man, okay, quite handsome lah. Huh? He's an alumni of SMU. He is in agri-tech. And I think that's the buzzword YB was using earlier. Because the young people don't want to join a traditional company. So when John graduated, his grandfather's company is Cheng using sugar, raw sugar, rock sugar. And he says, look, Prof, look at the trends. People are now more and more worried, about taking more sugar, diabetes all around us, how to be wholesome. So what he did was very simple. He started to think about coming back to the business, but rebranding it. So he now look at product redesign. So fun. Young people will come back if there's product redesign. Yeah, and then he looks at how to do the packaging, sustainable packaging. He works with ecosystems to do that. And then he have 4 different product range, not just sugar, he diversify. And of course, look at the jewels. It's rock sugar, collaboration. He worked with TWG, second generation, who came on board to bring it to market. And he bring it to market through a platform called foodculture.sg. All of you in this room can come together and launch a platform, Penang foodculture.sg. You have so much. I have amazing dinner last night with my cousins, right? And Nonya food, and there's so many spices. I love it that we are speaking at the Spice Center. So your culture is worth marketing and rebranding. And you can put many local products on this platform. You don't worry if they are also a competitor, because from competitor you can do cooperation. You can all come together and launch, all right? And this is a platform, so it need not be actual platform. It can be hybrid. People look, and then what do? They order from outside the country. And then you have an e-commerce behind the backing of this platform. And you can market, all right, everything that is Penang related, Malaysia related, local products. Of course, it need not be food, because there is so much of the culture of the country. This is an involvement that John brought me in. So not all the food companies today are able to innovate, and we need startups in the ecosystem. There are only a few places in the world where young people like to work, live, and play. Penang has the potential to be one. You have very exciting, all right, food places. You do have the climate for it, and it's pretty interesting, all right? UNESCO culture, so much potential. So you could actually have an Innovate 360, and then you work on like an industrial park, all right? But it can be privately done. It can be collaboration between public and private. And that's what John did. He has a building, 2 floors on the building. He converted into incubating all food-related startups. So Shok Meat is incubated from Innovate 360. Yes. All right. Alchemy is also from there. So that, all these are food-related. He's gone beyond sugar now. He's looking. Then on top of this, last year, we have just launched an Asian Sustainability Fund. Because incubating doesn't allow him to invest. So when he has a fund, all right, put up, he could invest selectively in some of the startups that he incubated. So all these are just the potential capacity within Penang to make this happen. So am I running out of time, YB? No? Okay. So the last one is very dear to me. Okay, so this is his go-to market, his funding, and mentors. Mentors, very important. In this room, if you were to have an equivalent of an accelerator, incubator, a lot of the seniors in this room, not all, I call them senior professionals with a lot of experience, could be mentors of the startups. Amazing, because it gives you a new energy when you are guiding a group of young people. And they would love your experience as well. So I tap on the industry. A lot of my startup mentors continue with the startup even after they used up the 6 months of the incubation space. They go out and then they start, getting funding, and the mentors help them to get the funding. So you pitch your product, your proposition, and you can do amazing things. I have two ladies, all right, who recently left their bank, but they used to work in Unilever. Yeah. So they have got all their training in Unilever, and they came out and set up their own company to look at sustainable milk powder. Not that they say that Unilever is not sustainable, yeah, but they decided that as mothers, and they want to make sure that the children grew up wholesomely with the right ingredients, they make sure that it doesn't have preservatives in the products. So I champion women entrepreneurship, all right? Because again, they bring a very different perspective to the business. So I am with university. I'm employee number 18 in SMU. I'm one of the startup team. So you could tell immediately I love startups. And when we first came into SMU, there were already 2 big incumbent universities. So how to differentiate yourself? You got to make sure you do it through your students. So we do not select students in the early days just based on your A-level result or your polytechnic results. We look for the X factor. We look for students that have that little edge, that can be a little bit like a rebel, but willing to drive change and willing to build impact. 2 of the institutes that I set up is with collaboration with the government and with the industry. So I set up something called the International Trading Institute with funding support from the industry. I don't like to take government money if possible, right? So industry supported us. The industry helped by bringing in their players, their big traders, to teach night class. No credit, they don't get paid, but they come together to collaborate on the last T, talent. No point having tech, no point building trust if you don't have people to run the sustainable corporation. So I'm happy to tell you my international trading track is still alive and well. The international trading track is now parked under my business school. After I retire, the industry continue to support. And that, to me, is critical. It's not about any code. It's about my industry, all right, commodities trading. So now you know why I'm so excited, because there's so much potential for Penang. Penang used to be on the trade routes, Penang, Malacca, Singapore. When the Dutch East Indies come here, they saw that these 3 are the ports where they have trust and the calm waters along the streets. And that is your potential. Technology is now driving digital trade. You can do traceability, you can do blockchain, you can do provenance, you can actually say that it's coming from all the right sources. So that's what my kids do. On top of their credit courses, they learn digitalization. And they have a very broad understanding of what commodities trading is. And no lesson is complete if you don't visit. So, we work with industry partners. Yeah. They have trade fairs. They have speakers from outside coming in. So please engage your institutes of higher learning. And last, Singaporeans, they think everything comes from the supermarket. Right? So I need to bring my students outside to learn. So we have to visit palm oil, not very sustainable in the past, but increasingly getting towards sustainability. Yes, we have to bring students out so that they can see that, even a pineapple fruit can be valuable, from fruit to husk to everything else, because circular economy is about sustainability. So we bring students out, they go out to Vietnam, all right, and they know where the coffee comes from. They go to cocoa plantation. Then they start to realize how to look at cocoa seeds and how is it different, all right, from other seeds. So, my message to all of you, all right, is you have tremendous potential in Penang. Unleash that potential. You have already got some basic underlying values, so building trust is easier. And the trust is not about companies, trust with companies, each other, trust with your agencies, with your government, cross-border trust. And you're all one people. So, there's so much behind that trust element that is already done. COVID has strengthened our ability, all right, to understand that one line. Nobody is safe, nobody is hygiene, nobody is wholesome until everybody is safe and have observed safety and hygiene and wholesomeness. So trust, tech. Chief Minister mentioned again and again, digital skills. Bite the bullet. Don't be scared. Learn. I have art, social science students learn how to be digital. I recently ran a private session for Gavi. Gavi is an alliance for vaccine. And they all came together and they said in the outskirts of Rwanda, Indonesia, many islands, how to get vaccine to the islands. The company that come together are the DHL, the MasterCard, the Gate Foundation. They produce the vaccines in 13 emerging markets. And they could get the vaccine to the people because they have a startup called Zipline that brings the startup vaccines to the outskirts of the village. With an ecosystem, you build a better world. And last but not least, invest in your people. When you have companies that come in, ask them to put some money on the table, not for just hardware, but for software and for hardware. Building people is a journey that we all can take together. So on that note, thank you very much. Thank you, Chief Minister, for staying. And thank you for having me join all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Eniko.